Hey, how's it going? My name is JayAshcroft. I am a photographer and a filmmaker. I run a photography and videography business in Canada, and I work with small businesses to help them create content for themselves. My intention with these videos is to talk about my philosophies surrounding life and business, as well as to make evergreen skill-based tutorials about photography and videography as a whole. I suppose I'm really making these videos to organize my thoughts and to be able to get everything out of my head and be able to look at it. And I also hope that maybe you're a creative or a freelancer and you might hear something that helps you in your business endeavors. So today I want to talk about the 5 a.m. Club. It is a book that changed my life, and I went very extreme with it. Although at first I was hesitant to even open it up. So I've read the book now twice, and I've listened to the Audible version twice as well. And it has instilled within me a season of high output and self-discipline that I had no idea I was capable of. At the beginning of the book, there's a man and there's a woman, and they meet this guy at a self-improvement conference, and he ends up being a millionaire. He takes them on a crazy adventure to a tropical land where he teaches them the importance of waking up at 5 a.m. every single morning and running the 20-20-20 rule when you get up. This routine to him is non-negotiable. So I just want to chat a little bit about what I feel the book got right and what can maybe be taken with a bit of a grain of salt. I was super lazy as a kid. I would go to bed at 2, 3 in the morning, and then I would get drug out of bed somehow and just make it to school in time. I was falling asleep in class. I was always late for everything. And I always just accepted this to be how I was and didn't really think anything of it. I didn't enjoy it. It was horrible. And I would have loved to have come across this information when I was a kid, but here we are. In 2020, I was 30 years old, and my niece was 19, and she was driving on the highway, and she got into a car accident, which unfortunately killed her. And sorry to get doom and gloom, but this was the moment in my life. This was the crucible, the turning point where I really decided that it was time to live the life that I knew in my soul I needed to be living. I'd always wanted to be a photographer, and I just never did it until this happened. And something just turned on within me, and I got to work. I got to know a photographer that I had always kind of known, but I reached out to him and I helped him build a studio, and he taught me a lot. And through the process of working with him, I then learned that like some cruel joke of the universe, that my father was going to pass away soon as well. He was very sick. So I'm hustling, I'm working hard, I'm learning and applying what I'm learning. And then my dad passes away. Not that long after my niece Alyssa died. So I guess she died in 2019. It was late 2019, and my dad would have died in 2020. So when he passed, that was when I really accepted what I needed to do, which was build my own business and live the life that I wanted to live. And along with all of these levers that were getting moved, a big thing that started to happen was I started to become interested in self-improvement, self-education. It all started with, I think it was called The Little Red Book on Marketing or something like that. I read it in like 2 days, and I felt amazing, and I was hooked. I needed more books. And so I kept reading books and reading more books, self-improvement books, philosophy books, spirituality books, business books. And then I would say 3 or 4 months of this went by, and I kept hearing about this book, the 5 a.m. Club. You would see it on all the recommendation lists, and I didn't want to read it. I would look at the title and I would say 5 a.m. But then I don't know what came over me, but one day I just picked it up and I started reading it, and I was very intrigued, and then I kept reading it, and then I started waking up at 5 a.m. I took it very seriously. I did it for a year. I didn't even do what he recommended, which was get up at 5 a.m., exercise hard for 20 minutes, write for 20 minutes, and then meditate, contemplate / reflect for another 20 minutes. He calls it the power hour. I took it to the next level. I got up at 5, and then I went for a run for an hour, and then I came home and read for 20 minutes, wrote for 20 minutes, and then meditated for 45 minutes. The whole process every morning took me about 2.5 hours. And I did this every day religiously for an entire year. And it's the best thing I could have ever done for myself. I ran this routine through thick and thin, and I did a lot of things that I wasn't proud of now that I'm actually thinking back on it. I missed out on a lot, and things that you really should be more lenient on. We were camping for my girlfriend M's birthday one year, and I had to go to bed at 9:30 so I could wake up and do my routine in the morning. At the time, that's what I had to do. The reason I had to do it was because I felt as though if I missed one day, I would completely stop doing it and fall off. I was keeping up at this super high rate of output and production. I didn't want to sacrifice that for anything. And it was shortly after that time when I started to reflect a little bit on what I was doing and if this was a good thing to continue doing. I found a lot of success while I was running this routine. I built an office for myself, got rid of that office, and then I built a whole photo studio in that time. But then I started to really burn out hard, like in a really bad way. And I just stopped doing it. But the one thing I never stopped doing was what Sharma calls the power hour. But I made my own version of it. This brings me to the most important point of what I took away from the book. The most important point of the 5 a.m. Club is not what time you wake up at. Yes, if you wake up at 5 in the morning, you feel like you're on top of the world. You're up and it's not getting light out for 2 hours, depending on where you live. In the dead of winter, if you're somewhere further north, maybe 3-4 hours that you're in darkness. That does feel good to get up and you're busy and you're working and it's still dark out. You watch the sun come up. That's good. If you can maintain that and if it suits your psychology and your emotionality. Is that a word? Emotionality? If it suits you to do that and you can maintain that forever, then do that. For me, it started to work against me, unfortunately. But again, the important thing is this routine, this 20-20-20, the power hour. I made my own version of it. So for me now, I'm running double duty. I've been trying for a long time to find a way to build this YouTube channel and to eventually create educational online products or some sort of consulting situation and run my business 432 Media. And I was having a really hard time waking up at 5 and then convincing myself that for 3 hours I must work on my side hustle, and then for the whole day I must work on my client work, and then at the end of the day I go back to working on the side hustle. I was constantly changing gears and being thrown all over the place. It wasn't working. I was always tired, I was depressed, I was feeling burnt out, dissatisfied in the quality of work that I was putting out. When I was creating things, I didn't believe it or love it, which is a horrible thing because the reason we create is because we want to share something that we're excited about and that we love as creators. So what I'm running now is something completely different from what I was doing. The crazy thing is that it feels the same in a strange way. So in the morning I get up now around 8 or 9 o'clock and I do my routine. I put coffee on and then I read for 20 minutes. I journal for 20 minutes, and then I meditate for 20 minutes. And in between all that, I'm sipping on my coffee. And then right after that, I get right to the most important task that is happening in my client work. I do that for the entire morning, unless I have to go and do a shoot. And then just before lunchtime, I'll lift weights and I'll have lunch. And then I'll work for the entire afternoon. And then just before supper time, I'll take my dog for a walk around 6:30 or so. And then I'll have supper maybe at 7. And then from 7 or 8 o'clock until about midnight, that is my time for my side hustle. And then I stay up till midnight, sometimes 1, and then I go to bed and I do it all over again the next day. And this routine, this way of working feels very right. So remember this for yourself. If you are a freelancer or you have a small business or you're any kind of creative whatsoever and you have client work, but you also have your own thing that you want to be doing outside of that client work, you need to find a way to organize yourself and to be self-disciplined enough to know what needs to live where. For me, it's work on my client work all day. I'm treating it like a 9 to 5. If we look at Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, we are self-employed, but it is a job. You've invented a job for yourself and you have to do that job. So treat it like a 9 to 5, and then 5 o'clock, relax for a bit, have some supper, and then switch gears and completely let go of everything. You've accomplished what you had to for your business during the day. Nighttime is for you. And if you flip it and you look at, well, I would like to work on my side hustle in the morning, that's fine. If that suits you, do that. For me, I was finding that I would be working on my side hustle in the morning, but I would constantly be thinking about time's running out, the phone's gonna start ringing pretty soon. Oh, you gotta get that edit done for that client. You gotta answer those emails. My mind was flooded with distractions from the job that I love, that I invented for myself, but it was still distracting me from doing a good job and actually enjoying the process of creating original things that I was excited about, that were for no other reason other than just I wanted to create them. Now, am I always gonna stick to this specific schedule? Probably not. I mean, at some point in time, there's going to be marriage, there's going to be kids, there's going to be different lifestyle changes that are happening constantly, and there may come a time where I have to wake up at 6, or I have to wake up at 5, or go to bed earlier, or match when the kids are waking up or when the kids are going to sleep, or any other combination of things. Maybe I get some sort of gig that requires me to be up a lot earlier. But the thing is, I'm enjoying this routine I'm having right now, and when I have to go to another routine, I know I can do it because I did it for a year. So in summary, you need to take the average of all of the information that you ingest, and you need to make informed decisions that suit your lifestyle and suit your needs, your psychology, your soul, your mind, your everything. And you need to make these decisions for you and for nobody else. And if you haven't read the 5 a.m. Club, I would highly recommend it. I would also highly recommend trying it, even for a month. It will seriously change your life. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you liked this video, then feel free to like it. If you didn't like it, then feel free to not like it. If you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.